Under the hood here of our 81 Fairmont wagon, working on the 302 HO EFI swap on our 255. Just kind of going through some of the wiring. On these older cars, you've got your voltage regulator on this side, you got your old DuraSpark box on that side, and I've went ahead and removed some of that. We're just kind of showing you, going through some of the fun stuff here. I'm going to have to split part of this because I'm going to need a couple of these wires. Well, that one. And one of the other ones to go to that side, because I'm going to move the starter solenoid over there, and then the rest of the Mustang type stuff off, the later Fox cars was all on that side. But I just kind of want to show you guys a little bit of, what's going on. I did start on some of it, basically making sure that I knew what came apart. But so, like I said, your voltage regulator over here, your DuraSpark box over there, headlight harness actually runs to the rest of this. Gotta tear that down. I'll probably bring you guys in and show you halfway what I'm talking about.
All right, we peeled back these wires from the other side. As you can see, I got a bunch of them in my hand. These were the things, this plug I believe came off the voltage regulator, and here's your fusible links, and some of this stuff went into the solenoid, as long as this other red one here, I believe, is your exciter wire from your ignition key, I believe. We're going to get all this stuff on this side of the car. Just got to get it all out of your way first. Just going to drape it over here, and then we'll take the ones going back. I believe all this stuff here goes to the headlights and turn signals and what I'll have in. We'll wire them back up aluminum, take them over that direction. And we'll see where we're at from there. That's probably what we've got at this point.
Got our headlight harness back in, taped up, make sure nothing happens because we need headlights. Got our digital wires for our alternator and our starter solenoid moved on that side. I just put the loom back on here to keep this protected. Alright, we're going for that factory look on here. Gotta make sure it looks good. If somebody comes over in the pits or at the Sonic or whatever cruise night, you gotta make sure it looks good. Saying that, it's all dirty and covered in mud and mud daubers, but hey, that's fine. Just match that up. Kind of. About like that. So now that we moved all the stuff to that side, we can put our solenoid over there, run those wires, finish cleaning up that corner where the headlight harness came across. Which is weird for me because every Fox body I've ever worked on, the headlight harness comes out on that side and then comes this way. This one actually splits. So right side comes out, goes down, left side comes out, goes down to that side. So that was a little different experience than what I'm used to. But that's fine. It works. Well, making some room. I'm gonna have my intake, my cold air, my air filter over here. Gonna have my little digital stuff over here. Still don't know what I'm gonna do with the computer. So the Fox body era stuff had the EC4, big A9L, D3, D1, all them silly different designators, but I don't have a hole over here to put that, so I gotta figure that out. Looking up under the dash, this thing's actually still really nice, really clean, so I don't really want to take a hole saw to it. Not saying that I won't, I just don't want to. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. Have to think on that for a few minutes. Well, after thinking on it a little bit, I actually moved those wires back across, moved the solenoid back over, and I just was going through a bunch of the stuff I can kind of show you. Had my books out. These are some real nice things. My mom, Crack, made this for me. Shout out to Crack, thank you. So went through and checked everything, and I've got the EFI harness in here, and I had set it up here and I'd liked how it was going, so I just started zip tying it. All I ended up doing on the 302 HO harness Fox body stuff is I extended the power wire from where the solenoid would have been here and ran it back like I had the other stuff before, moved it back, made that, comes over here to that was still attached to the Fairmont harness, and then you left your ground over here. Fox body guys know about this nice thing here. It's fun, play a trick on your friends, unplug that, won't do anything. And then we're kind of mocking up. I think I'm just going to actually stick the computer here. This is the factory ECM box for the Neighbor Hater RV. I think dude's going to cut it up and we're going to stick Ford harness inside that so we can mount that right there. That's basically what we're going to go with. I think that's going to be the best plan of attack. For the intake, you know, they would normally sit going this way, your throttle body, your cold air. I think we're actually going to flip it, go the other way, just because we have a lot more room here. Won't have to change anything I will have to change this plug for the idle air control, and then the TPS one's floating somewhere back there too, but that won't be bad at all. As far as the throttle cable there, I do have a Fox body one. I need to pull this one out, and then you can actually just make a loop with the factory bracket, and it'll all work. So that'd be the rest of the updates for now that I redid all that. And honestly, I just spent a lot of time digging through that book, and that's super boring, so I didn't want to bore you guys with me tracing them stupid little lines and the colors and everything, because that gets really old just in general. So that's where we're gonna take off from here. Is, like I said, I moved all the stuff from the driver's side to the passenger side, and we'll go with that. Still not sure if I want to cut a hole in the car yet. Figure that out later. For now, that's what we got. Then also, I don't remember if I talked about that earlier. So I did figure out I can put a 3G alternator on here. You know, this would be off your SN95 Mustangs, Tauruses, things like that. Simple 3-wire plug that tied in. I tied it into the factory Fairmont stuff. And then I just need to run my power wire over to there. Got the pulley swapped out. It looks like it lines up. I know it's probably a terrible angle. Yeah. So, still moving along. I'm going to go back to my digital wiring sheets I got here and make sure I got the rest of this figured out. The other part of this, I think I probably should show if somebody else is wanting to do a 5-liter swap. This is off the factory engine harness, and I had another one laying around. I just cut, and there's 2 wires out of there. It's the red and the blue, and then the red with the green, and then I tied them back in to the factory Fairmont harness down there. So get our ground out of the way. So just ran those 2, tied it all in, just quickly zip tied it up so it's out of my way. And really, that's all you have to do to make these work in a non-factory EFI car. The power wire on that side, the 2 wires there, and the ground, and hopefully it'll work. I don't have any of the O2 wiring hooked up. I'm going to try to run it without the O2s. I've ran a few of my other Foxes that way in the past, and they seem to do all right. I guess we'll see what happens with this. So don't mind the trash pile. I missed trash day. Happens. So while I was messing with the wiring, the dude popped the valve covers off. He's cleaning on them. They're looking pretty good, nice and rusty. But you should have seen, these things were like solid caked. I probably should have shown that before. But he did a good job. He still needs to finish. He stepped out for just a little bit. But he'll come back and get these cleaned up. That one there actually looked really pretty good on this side. Little rust there, but it's alright. So I appreciate him doing that. One less thing I had to do. Didn't want to because it's gross. And so he'll come back, get those cleaned, pop those on. I've got the new valve cover gaskets waiting somewhere over that direction. Yeah. Guess I could show the intake. So this is pretty crazy. The 255 V8 was only made for like 2 years in the Fairmont, 80 and 81, which the dude has the 80 4-door, you know, butterscotch color Grandpa Buick one. I have the 81 Wagon. Everyone tells me to just throw this motor away, but I want to play with it. I want to see what would happen. And apparently, a lot of that is because these little teeny tiny intake ports, and I think the head one's actually a little bit smaller. I mean, I can just cover that guy with my thumb. But apparently everything matches up. So here's the factory gasket that was on there. And it's got the pan, because this one, as you can kind of see, it's got the holes through it open, so they have the valley pan. And I haphazardly had this set in place where it would match up, and I mean, it actually looks like this might work. Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I found one guy one time that said he did this and had it running. I found out today, the guy that I talk about that matched the EFI intake to the motor, I found a thread where he had it running. So I'm actually going to try to reach out to him. He's done Rocky Mountain Race Week. I believe his name's James Pringle. I'll have to check back on that. But I'm going to reach out to him and see what I'm missing, if anything. Tips, tricks, you know, if it's still running, if it's not running, if you actually just threw a 302 in it. I know he's a big block Ford guy, so it might have a big block Ford in it now. I don't know. We'll have to check back on that later. So this is the part of the video where I have to inform you that I ended up with a corrupt SD card, lost some footage of the Wagon build of certain stages, but I have a couple cell phone videos that I'm going to drop into here that you can check out, get caught up, and you can see this new space that I made in my basement for doing some of the podcast stuff when I'm invited onto, and then I'll probably do some other things with this area for this. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Got all my hats back here, a couple of cars, my Ed Roth picture that he drew for me when I was 10 years old, pretty important to me. My Race Week 2020 kind of hardship or perseverance award that I won. But either way, enjoy the cell phone videos coming up. Got all the digital stuff figured out. All done. Got to hook up the H-pipe, mount the computer, fuel tank and fuel pump need to go in there. And then hopefully we can get it running. We'll see.